All right. This might be a little bit disjointed. As you've seen, we've got some folks coming who, real people with real stories about the challenges they're having and getting their services taken care of and getting their questions answered. Our concern is that it's only going to get worse. The Trump administration has fired 7,000 Social Security Administration employees already, and they're continuing to fire even more. The concern we have is that even though they've been working overtime to bring down the length of time it took for responses, especially during the Biden administration, they made great headway. Governor Martin O'Malley was leading that effort. But now that the Trump administration's come in, they're firing people, people who answer the phones, people who would open up the offices so people could come and walk in. And we just heard one example of that scenario just a minute ago about someone trying to walk in and not being able to do it. So people can't get the services they need if the staffing is inadequate. We know it's always been a challenge, or has been for some time. This is just making the problem worse. And the key point to remember, though, is that people have real needs. That, this isn't spending money on the side for a lot of folks. They need this for rent, they need it for food, they need it to pay their bills. And so we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to bring this to the public's attention, to make sure that the Trump administration hears how important this is, to make sure we have the right staffing levels, to make sure that people get the services they need. So I wanted to bring up Deborah Williams, and I want to thank her for making the effort to get up the hill so she could come and speak to you. She's had challenges with disability cases since November 2023, and she's faced homelessness at times as well. But I want to give her a chance to come up and tell you what's been going on for her so she can give you a real insight into what's happening with these cases. Ms. Williams?
Thank you, Congressman Ivey. As he stated, I filed for the second time for a disability claim. I was denied the first time, but I never received the actual letter outlining the reasons for my denial. But from what I was told, when I was able to get someone on the phone after like a 2-hour wait, I was told that even though they recognize I have a disability, it's not to the point that I can't work. And then when I do finally get another job after almost a year, unfortunately it was with the federal government. And as you know in the news, I was a probationary employee. I had 1 month of service, and I was terminated after 1 month, reinstated, and then terminated again on 4/10. So I'm still waiting to see if I can get Social Security, because like Congressman Ivey said, I need it for rent, because I still do not have a stable place to live, and I have other bills that need to be paid as well. So it is a very vital source for me to get this back in action. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, hold up a second. Yeah, yeah, let's do this together here. Thank you. And they may have questions for her after. They might want to ask you something. This is make sure you get down there okay though. Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent. So we're going to move forward with this. I apologize about the wind, but that's what spring is like in the DC area. But definitely want to make sure we have a chance to hear from all of our speakers here. My next speaker is someone I'm enormously proud of, and she's doing an outstanding job. It's Council Member Jolene Ivey.
Thank you, sweetie. You know, listening to Miss Williams' story, don't you just get whiplash, right? And I think that's what we're all experiencing these days. You know, one thing that Glenn has been saying lately is, are you any better off today than you were 4 months ago? Not 4 years ago, 4 months ago. And this is part of the chaos, and the chaos is intentional. So when it comes to Social Security recipients, and we have about 100,000 of them in Prince George's County, not counting the 45,000 people who get the disability payments. You know, these are people who are relying on this money, but they can't rely on the government right now to provide the services to them that they have earned. So I'm sorry that we have to be here today, but I'm glad to be able to stand with my colleagues, to stand with the public against what the Trump administration is doing to ordinary people every day. Thank you.
Thank you. And next I want to bring up the other at-large council member, Calvin Hawkins.
Congressman Ivey, thank you for this opportunity to stand with my colleagues and some of our state representatives to talk about this important problem, not just impacting Prince George's County, but impacting our country. You've heard from our council member at large, Ivey, talk about the same concerns we all have. And what I would ask of our president, understand the impact of the work you all are doing. Your initiatives are disrupting families, senior citizens who rely on their Social Security, disability individuals relying on their Social Security. Can anyone answer the question, where is Martin O'Malley when we need him the most?
All right. And I'd like to bring up District 4 Council Member Ingrid Watson.
Thank you. And thank you, Congressman Ivey, for your leadership and for bringing us all together today. I stand before you not only as the council member representing the hardworking people of District 4, but as a daughter, a mother, and a neighbor. Someone who hears every single day from residents who rely on Social Security just to get by. Social Security makes it possible for so many in our community to stay in their homes, to afford their medicine, and quite frankly, to live with dignity. In Prince George's and across the country, millions of Americans have paid into Social Security their entire lives, and they have kept their end of the bargain, and we must fight to help them keep ensure what's rightfully theirs. What is happening in Washington is not leadership, it's negligence. And now we're hearing for a push for even more cuts. Many of the frontline people who answer phones, meet with residents, and help untangle complex issues have been pushed out. People just don't know what's coming next, and that anxiety, that fear is what makes these cuts so cruel. I applaud Congressman Ivey, my colleagues, the delegates from the state, for standing up when it counts, for speaking truth to power and drawing attention to an issue that couldn't be more important. I'm proud to stand in the trenches with him and my colleagues. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, I knew it was coming. But a nice catch, you guys. You got to admit, yeah. All right. Next we have Delegate Ashanti Martinez.
Thank you, Congressman, and good afternoon. I'm Delegate Ashanti Martinez, and I'm here today because the fight for Social Security is not abstract. It's personal. We just heard from Ms. Williams about the impact this will have, the cuts, and it's personal for over 1 million Marylanders who depend on it to survive. Let's be very clear. What Doge and Elon Musk are pushing is not about reform. It's reckless power play that threatens the dignity of working families, seniors, veterans, because Social Security is not a luxury. It's a promise. It's a fabric within our safety net that all Marylanders who pay in have earned throughout their lifetime of work, sacrifice, and service. While billionaires blast off into space and hoard tax breaks, our communities are being told to tighten our belts. That's not progress, it's exploitation. If Congress won't act, the Republican Congress won't act to protect Social Security, states like Maryland will step up. And we will fight to make sure that our seniors are safe, that our benefits are secure, and no one has to grow old in poverty while billionaires' bottom lines grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now, Delegate Ann Healy.
Thank you so much, Congressman Ivey, and for bringing us together today to address this really crucial issue. I'm probably the oldest person here. I do qualify for Social Security. Fortunately, I'm still working. I'm still in the legislature. But I want to say that it's not just the people who depend on it, which everyone has spoken to, the people who depend on it for their disability. That is the hardest thing, because when the person is disabled and they can't get their care or they can't get their information, they can become really homeless, and in a very bad way. The other thing is, I want to make a mention. I know we're going to have people from the unions in a minute, but all these layoffs, the stress that it is creating for the people who work here in this building is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Anybody who has ever worked in a place where they didn't have enough people doing the job, and all the stress that comes from trying to do more with less, and knowing that you're only human and you can only do so much, and you see the needs growing every day, that is heartbreaking for the workers. They are being the ones that have to face the people who are upset and angry because they've lost their benefits, or they don't know how to find out what they're supposed to get, and they are the ones that have to deal with it. So I want to stand strong with the Maryland legislature, with the state government, with our congressmen and our Congress and our county government. Everybody has to pull together now, because we are facing something that we have never seen before. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I want to thank my colleagues in state and local government for their comments and the great work that they do day in and day out, making a difference here in Prince George's County and across the state. I do want to mention, too, I want to thank former President Biden for his speech last night that I thought really highlighted the levels of concern here and helped to bring a national focus to these challenges. And House Democrats across the country, like us today, are doing this in their districts all over the United States to try and make sure that we get the point out that in offices like this, the staff cuts are undermining the ability to do the job right, to provide the people with the services that they've earned and deserve, and to make sure that we do everything we can to improve the staffing, to protect it from where it is, from going down from where it is, in fact, push it back up in the near future. And as Delegate Healy said, we got our friends here from the labor side of this. We've got people, we've talked about services that customers have trouble getting, but there's definitely the side of employees being on the crosshairs of these cuts. So we want to make sure we give them a chance to speak. So I'll start with, I guess, AFGE. Come on up, give us some comments, introduce yourself, and tell us what you all are
Thank you
doing.
so much. My name is Shadon Taylor. I'm the local president of 3615 out of District 14 of AFGE. Now, like you said, you're probably the oldest person here. I think I'm about the youngest person here. My call to action would be to the younger people, because I think so often Social Security is correlated with seniors. But there's a lot of people such as myself who's not old enough to retire, who has put in hours and years in the federal government, but we so often get left behind, right? The thing is this, when I get to the age where I can retire, I need Social Security to be there for me to collect on. What about the mothers who have premature babies? They can go and collect from Social Security if they can't go back to work because their children are premature. What about the wives who get married and have to come here to Social Security to change their last names? This affects so many people. It's just not our seniors. So my call today would be to the younger employees, the younger people. Let's get together and let them know, hands off Social Security. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. By the way, I think we just celebrated the 80th anniversary of FDR and his administration. Social Security was one of the great innovations that his administration brought, and it's been outstanding from the standpoint of reducing poverty among our seniors across the country, helping with children. I think we've got 76,000 plus retirees here in my district alone that benefit from Social Security. And as you heard a moment ago, disabled workers, over 10,000 just here in the 4th Congressional District. I also wanted to invite up our friends from Norfolk. Come on up, give us some comments about your views on this and your employees. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Angela Hyman. I'm with the National Active and Retired Federal Employee Association, specifically Chapter 1747, which represents PG County and Bowie and Anne Arundel County and Crofton. Our association is for the people. We support Congressman Glenn Ivey, and thank you for your invitation to be here. we support good government. We need good government for the people. As my previous colleague stated, we need it from the cradle to the grave as far as Social Security. So our association, we represent elderly who are retired, who are annuitants, who are trying to get their Social Security checks, the spouses that are with them, as well as the younger federal workers who are working, who are paying into Social Security. We need offices open. We need employees in the offices to help when we call and when we come to the offices. We don't need closure of offices at this time. We know that Social Security works for the entire country. So for those out there who even work private industry, if you're not federal government, you definitely are touched by Social Security. So Social Security is a good thing. Change is good, but it's good when it affects and it impacts on the good side the people that it is intended to help. So we stand with Congressman Glenn Ivey and all of his staff and their efforts. Thank you for your leadership and your service. And please, let's try to save Social Security and the federal government. We need good government for the people.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to first thank the congressman and all the city council members and the elected officials here and the colleagues from the various other unions. My name is Gary Roundtree Sr. I am the current Maryland Federation President of National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association. We are an organization consisting of active, currently working federal employees in every government agency and federal civil service renewed retirees. Many of our members are elderly. Many of them have many ailments, from multiple sclerosis to prostate cancer to skin cancer, melanoma, that depend on Social Security every month to survive. I'm going to finish with a quote from Abraham Lincoln during the Great Civil War. We must bear those that have shedded blood for the freedoms, liberties of this country. What you do to the least matters the most. I am my neighbor's keepers. Thank you, Congressman, for allowing me an opportunity to address you and the friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. And I want to thank all of our participants here from the labor movement, from the elected officials. I guess normally we would stop and take questions. I don't know if you guys want to do it from this standpoint, if you want to break it down. Are you doing okay with the sound? Everybody's doing okay? Okay, well, why don't we take a few questions then?
Can I ask you quickly, have there been any staff reductions at this office?
I am not sure about this specific office, but I do believe so, and I know they've had restricted hours. In fact, we were just talking about that a few minutes ago, how difficult it is to get in there because, they have reduced office hours, and also they're not able to reach them 24 hours a day using, phone systems or other methods like that. So the 7,000 reduction is offices across the country, and has reduced the ability for people to get access to people when they need to have questions answered. So, and I guess we've got the information there. You want to bring it around here? So, overall impact nationwide, absolutely. Other questions? I'll hold one in. Sure. This is just for my congressional district, so this doesn't even include the outer half of Prince George's County that Steny Hoyer represents. So we've got 76,000 retirees. We've got over 100,000 altogether who are receiving Social Security benefits just in this congressional district, or roughly 98,000 plus. We've got children who get benefits, disabled workers, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, is over 10,000. Spouses from people who are collecting Social Security but passed, and widows as well. So this is the information district by district. What we did was we broke this down for every congressional district in the country. And as I mentioned, we're having press conferences like this, House Democrats anyway, across the country, bringing this information to the public's attention so that they know how the reach is Social Security has and the great impact that it has on communities. Well, Social Security, you know, unemployment benefits come in a different track, and so that is going to be a challenge for the state, I think. You get Social Security benefits for different reasons, like age of retirement or special scenarios, like you've been declared disabled or one of your beneficiaries passed. For example, if a Social Security recipient passes away and he's got children under age, there may be scenarios where the children can get benefits. So it's a little different than unemployment, but it's a big part of that same safety net that's critical. Same with Medicare and Medicaid, which are also being attacked. Medicaid in particular, they're looking at, the Republicans are looking to do $881 billion in cuts nationwide, which will undermine health care opportunities for people like this, but for just people across the board. So, sorry? We need them to reinstate these people. You know, and that's true for government employee cuts across the board. We've got a number of federal cases that are going. I think it's up to about 160 now. Many of them have injunctions in place so they can't keep reducing employees, but not all of them. And so some of these cuts where we've had these reductions take place, that's because of that. But I think really the bottom line is we can't fix it given the track that Trump is on unless current Republicans change the way they are voting and stop supporting these kinds of cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid and vote with the Democrats. That's why we're out here, is to try and persuade them to change sides and vote with us to protect these critical benefits for the American people.
Representative, you know, you say you spoke with someone who said that they had difficulty, you know, speaking with Social Security administrators to get their situation safe here. You know, can you talk a little bit more about what you've been hearing, and also, have you also heard from people who have had to go to the Social Security office to get out of these? You know, how much of this,
Well, I've heard a variety of reasons. Our office takes calls from constituents that need assistance. We've got, frankly, dozens of these that have come in, and we try and help people to cut through the red tape to get the assistance that they need. But it's a real challenge, and it was a challenge even before the cuts were put in place. And sometimes, even when congressional offices reach out, we still have trouble getting through too. So if they continue to reduce the number of employees, the more they do that, the harder it gets, and the harder it is for people to get the benefits that they need. Other.
you have a colleague overseas right now trying to get the release of a Maryland man in the prison in South Florida. Is it possible to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I appreciate Chris going over to El Salvador and try and force the next steps in the release of Kilmar so he can come back to the United States. It's really pathetic that the Trump administration continues to drag its feet on this. You know, if they had just gone ahead and taken it to court from the start, we'd been done by now, because this is like, we've been fighting about this for 3 weeks. But the Supreme Court said, by a vote of 9-0, he should get a day in court. He gets due process. Let him come back. The judge that's been handling the case here locally, Judge Paula Zenas, has been trying to walk them through this, to force them to provide basic information. It took them 2 or 3 days just to tell her that he was still alive. So, I mean, it's ridiculous in the way they're handling this. The Supreme Court said they should do it. The local judge has said that they need to do it. Basic common sense and the rule of law say they need to do it. I think they just need to stop, you know, dragging their feet. And the last point on this, I'm sick of the character assassination they're launching against this guy from the press conference room. So, you know, they come out every day and they say he's a gang member, this, that, and the other, but they will never come into court and say it. Nobody will come and say it under oath because they don't have the guts to do it there, and they know they can be held accountable if they do that. So they should put up or shut up, bring him back, give him his day in court, and if they have the guts and the information, the evidence to back it up, present it in court and let a judge make the decision. But until then, let's get done with this. Let's move on and get this done.
To that same point, you know, by the Trump administration of defying the Supreme Court, you know, what message do you think that's sending, and why do you think other folks should be concerned?
Well, we have to see what happens when they bring this back up, but they shouldn't have needed to be prompted by the Supreme Court. This is normally a district court judge ordering something to happen. That's all that you need. It gets done because, you know, we're trying to move through in an efficient way. And it was really straightforward that they took him out of here illegally. In fact, they admitted that they took him out of here illegally. So bring him back and give him his day. But, you know, it looks like it's going to have to go back up to the Supreme Court again. I think also this local judge, you might have to hold people in contempt of court before they get off the dime here, but we'll see what they do. But the rule of law dictates and separation of powers, our basic constitutional structure. The Trump administration should stop this. They should comply with the law. They should bring him back and give him his day in court. Anything else? All right, thanks so much, everybody.